Citizens of the digital age, welcome to our full Watch Dogs review. If you wish to see the previous free, we will leave a link in the description for you. In today's DLC review, we'll visit Watch Dogs 2 a final time and explore its DLC content. We will give you the truth, so you can decide if it's a don't buy, good buy, or must buy. Do what you will.
Human Conditions is our first DLC. It comes with 3 story missions, elite co-op missions, and a new enemy type. Let's begin with the story content. Firstly, Automata is a pretty basic quest with some fun mechanics. A company named Tidus advertises their new state-of-the-art unhackable vehicle. DedSec takes this as a challenge, and whilst taking on that challenge, you'll discover the dark secrets of this company and how they value human life. I really enjoyed this one, especially the humour between Wrench and Marcus. There were some fun mechanics too that spiced up the level design. Honestly, all around a fun mission with a pretty important message. Our second story quest is Bad Medicine, which will have us trace hazardous ransomware that threatens healthcare as well as the reputation of DedSec. In this questline, you'll team up with a familiar character from the first game to recover this ransomware whilst dealing with the Russian mafia. I loved this quest, it was a favourite for sure. I loved that a returning character is involved, and while the level design was pretty great here as well. Definitely not as creative, but felt nostalgic and familiar. And finally, Caustic Progress is a questline that felt like it came straight out of Cyberpunk 2077. Where the homeless are used as tools to test out nanotechnology. You team up with Lenny, a fellow hacker, to obtain the nanotech. I loved the level design here, it felt very creative at points, especially going against a rival hacker who was supposed to be working with you. However, I hate Lenny as a character. I know you aren't supposed to particularly like her, but she's just a straight up creep. I mean, just take a look at this.
You're little, Jake.
Oh, please don't.
Oh, you're like a little puppy. I always wanted a puppy. Do you want to come work for me?
No.
She's genuinely a pig, one of the worst and most annoying characters I've ever seen. She's not even so gross it's funny, she's just a creep. Also, Josh, you took that like a champ, absolute legend. And that's it for the story quest. Overall, really great, honestly. Whilst nothing special compared to Bad Blood, I still found myself enjoying all 3 quests, but I wish they were all connected in some way, as each quest is entirely its own thing. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's talk about the new enemy type added with this DLC, the anti-hacker type. This enemy will jam hacks within a specific radius, which can really mess up your route and force you to change your plans. Or you can brute force it by killing them and disarming the jamcom, or just by disabling it with hacks. I like this enemy, it's something I found pretty interesting. An enemy that negates a core mechanic is very intriguing, and I wish there were more enemies like this in the base game. We'll talk about the co-op missions later because it relates to this. Next up is the No Compromise DLC, which adds 1 new story quest, called Moscow Gambit. In this questline, we'll take down a corrupt, X-rated filmmaker and expose their ties to the mafia as well as their depraved tactics of targeting vulnerable men and women for their fetish content. There's some very fun mechanics here, where you'll need to use cameras and other tools to gather evidence to expose the corruption of this industry, and even use the director's depraved fetish against them. I absolutely loved this mission, it felt extremely important. The adult film industry is something that is very, very dark, and it dives into the more depraved and exploitative side of the business, and how damaging it could be in multiple ways, both to the young minds and the people involved in those films. And there we have it, all of the story content. Now let's move on to the next segment, co-op missions. The Human Conditions DLC adds new elite co-op missions to play through. These missions are part of the Off the Hook questline, which can be played solo or with another player, but on PlayStation it does require PS Plus. The goal is to find and destroy cargo, hack data, and free prisoners. Some have a time limit and others do not, but if you die, the mission fails and you'll need to start again. Each one of these missions has its own goal, but will contribute to the same plot. There's some really interesting mechanics here being used, specifically from the new anti-hack enemy type and the escort and prisoner goals. These are really fun, definitely very challenging solo, but it's unfortunate that you need PS Plus to team up with other players. And that's one of my main gripes with Watch Dogs, and that's the online features. They built honestly some of the greatest online content I've seen in a mostly single player experience. I love the creativity in terms of being randomly hacked by another player in Watch Dogs 1, which is still here but it's heavily downgraded. There's a ton of other online modes I haven't haven't even touched on, and I'd love to honestly. It does feel a little bit dishonest reviewing these games without fully diving into the online modes. But again, if you pay for a product, you shouldn't need to pay extra just to play online. This is a console issue, as on PC it's not an issue whatsoever, there's no need to pay for subscriptions. But even so, there's a ton of content in both of these games that can be played online without PS Plus, which doesn't make sense to me. Why lock the rest of the content behind a PS Plus paywall? It feels very disingenuous and silly to me. Anyway, what do you think about the online modes within the Watch Dogs series? Do you like them, love them, or hate them? And what do you think about needing to pay to play them? Here we are, the final verdict. There's not much to talk about this time. There are a few more DLCs I could talk about, but these are just mostly cosmetics or additional co-op content, so I don't really see the point. Overall, I enjoyed playing through the story missions, and the After Hut co-op missions were a great challenge solo. However, I'm not a fan of needing PS Plus to unlock the best online content. It's a shame really, especially if you've already paid for the DLC. So where does the DLC for Watch Dogs 2 stand on the should you buy it scale? Well, I'd say right about here. If you're a massive Watch Dogs fan, I recommend giving the DLC a try. However, most of the content in this DLC isn't anything particularly important or memorable. There's no plot that ties all the quest lines together, they are fun, and the level design is exceptional. But you can for sure skip these and you wouldn't really miss anything plot-wise. But that's just my opinion. I would have dived deeper into the online modes, but I can't really give a fair perspective on these modes as I haven't recently experienced them. But if you wish to see that in the future, maybe next year I'll make a follow-up video on the various online modes of Watch Dogs. But with that, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, it really helps. If you have any feedback or criticism, let me know in the comments. I read them all and I will listen to your feedback. Next up is the Watch Dogs Legion review. We're coming close to ending this series, so thank you so much for sticking around and supporting these videos.
And remember, we have given you the truth. Do what you will.